Yo, what's going on, guys? I'm Moxie Infernape, and this is my team builder and battle for Week 6 of Season 8 of the National Pokeball League. So this week I'm playing Rob, aka Pokey TCG Gamer. Rob Jr., he is a cool guy. He's very good. He's gotten a lot better the past few seasons. He was in Majors last season, and then the season prior to that he was in Minors. So he moved up from Minors to Majors, and he's getting a lot better, and he's really scary and very good, and his team is spooky. So he's coming into this game at 3-2. I am 2-3. He started off the season 3-0, but then he lost his next two. One of them was kind of hacksy, but you know, it's Pokemon. So I'm hoping that I can get his start this season off to my start last season, because last season I won my first 3, then lost my following 3. So I'm hoping that he'll lose his week 4, 5, and 6 games, meaning that he loses to me. So this is a pretty pivotal game, just like last week. Last week I was able to pick up a big win versus Adam, gets me right back in the race. I'm 2-3 instead of being 1-3 and then into 1-4. 2-3, and I'm in it. If I win this week, I will be 3-3, as will Rob, and I'll just be right in the middle again instead of being 2-4 and kind of out of it. I mean, I'll still have a chance, but it'll be tougher. So you know, it does be a big game to win, and I feel like I have a good team to do that. So just like last week, I actually have not done the battle yet as of recording this video. So I guess it makes my team builder a little more genuine in some ways, in that like I'm not sort of unintentionally spoiling parts of the battle by saying like if this scenario comes up, which it does, or something like that. No, I just like recording the team builders before the battle now. But I actually did make a transaction that is in effect this week. So I made a trade with my good pal Rizzy Pow. So I actually traded Infernape away to Riz, which kind of saddens my heart, but I feel like I did pick up some good mons in that trade. So I traded away Infernape and Electros to pick up Thunderous T, which is a new mon here, and pick up this Hitmonlee over here. So it was a nice little trade, gives me Thunderous T, which I really want on this team. I would love to have Thundy with Ape, but I think this is the best way to do that, and I really like Thundy. It gives me some more just natural firepower on my team. Well, I ironically do not have a fire type right now, but I will soon. So I don't have a fire type right now, but I'm gonna make some more. I'm gonna make a big transaction this week that'll go in effect week 7. So I'll explain some more stuff there with my new team after I have those new mons in week 7. But I like having Thunderous T on the team. Hitmonlee is kind of cool, but I am dropping it after this week. So Hitmonlee is part of the mons on my team that are getting flushed out. So not trying to be mean to my good pal Hitmonlee. It's a pretty decent matchup versus Rob, as does my Infernape, and I really kind of wish that I didn't trade it at some points while I was building, but I did want to drop Hitmonlee, and to do that I would need to do the trade when I did, basically, so I could drop Hitmonlee this week and then and as well as some other mons, to get my big slew of new mons coming in. So I kind of had to do it when I did, and I still feel like I built a pretty good team versus Rob, even though we did not have Infernape. So you know, I'm still feeling pretty comfortable with the team. So these 11 are my these 11 are the mons that I can bring my 6 from this week. That's what I was trying to say. So that's my team going into this week. So Rob's team, I will read it off, put it on screen. So Rob has got the Excadrill, Weavile, Gyarados, Tangrowth, Slobo, Mega Altaria, Lycanroc, Dusk, Golurk, Alakazam, Garbodor, Hippopotas, and Articuno. So pretty scary team on his end. A little bit unconventional at the start, like round 1 Drill is a little bit odd, especially because he didn't get Hippowdon or Tyranitar, no super reliable Sand Setter. He did get Hippopotas late, but he's only brought it, I think, once so far. He could bring it this week. It has some value, but not the best matchup, but still, Sand plus Excadrill is always scary. His Z users are Gyarados, Lycanroc, Dusk, and Articuno. So some scary Z users on his end. The Lycanroc Dusk form, he's used as a Z user a lot. With Sword Sense plus the like the Lycanium Z, whatever the move is called, like the splintered storm shards or something like that. I forget what it's called. The Z Stone Edge from Lycanroc is scary, so that is a terrifying move. And also the Accel Rock is pretty nasty too. So not a fan of having to deal with that. But I feel like I've built my team in a way that I can. So I guess let's get into my team now. So Thunderous T here, bringing this for the first time. I'm not bringing Hitmonlee though, as you can see. I originally did have Hitmonlee, but I actually took it out, I think, for Thunderous, just because I feel like Thunderous did more on my team and helps me out more, and Thunderous does fill a better role. And I was a little bit hesitant to bring Thundurus at first because it does have Weavile and Lycanroc, which are both big threats to my team. Both outspeed Thundurus, and even if I want to go Scarf, they still have the priority to hit me with Ice Shard and Accel Rock respectively. So I was a bit hesitant to bring Thundurus, but I feel like it fills a good role in this team, and really outside of those two, it can pressure his defense a lot, and if it brings a bulkier team, this can just pressure that a lot, which I love. I feel like I need a good wall breaker, a good powerful hitter to pressure and deal with those, and if he brings a more offensive team that maybe does have some speed and can beat my Thundee more easily, I do have my ways around that, around a faster, more offensive team, so I'm kind of okay with that too. So Thundurus with knockoff, Sludge Bomb, Thunderbolt, Superpower, hits pretty much everything on his team. Not really Hippopotas too much, but I can still knock off the Eviolite, which allows my Mew or my Lodec to hit it harder, which is nice. Or even my Crocodile might be able to 2KO it from that point if it does not have the Eviolite. Thunderbolt is just really good stab, hits most things on his team. And then Superpower, knockoff plus Superpower is really nice for the Excadrill, which could be a likely switch in. If he doesn't bring Hippopotas or anything else, that is a decent switch in. Maybe Tangrowth, but I can knock off its item, either probably Rocky Helmet or Assault Vest, either Fizz Def or Spadef. Those are the main two sets I'm expecting from Tangrowth. Then Sludge Bomb is good coverage to allow me to hit Tangrowth as well as Mega Altaria. I could have carried Hidden Power Flying with the Tangrowth, but that does the same amount as Sludge Bomb does to Tangrowth anyways, and Sludge Bomb also hits the Mega Altaria and does a lot to that, so Sludge Bomb's just smart overall. This thing gets super effective coverage for almost everything on his team. Yeah, I think it was everything except for, well, actually no, hold on. I think I do super effective for every single mon on his team. So, yeah, I do. So that is really nice. Oh, except for Hippopotas, I suppose. So I have super effective and Garbodor. That's right. I knew it wasn't versus all his mons, but still a lot of his mons. So 10 out of his 12 hit super effectively. So that's pretty good. The EV spread right here, so I can outspeed max speed Jolly Excadrill. That's just the next fastest thing on his team. Makes sense to creep that. I can live a Psychic from a max special attack, Timid, Focus Sash, Alakazam after Rocks, or just any non-boosting exam. So I guess Scarf too, but he'd either be Sash or Life, or probably Sash, honestly. And also, that's what this bulk allows me to do. And I wanted to go. I like Naive just because I did not want to lower my defense or my physical attack stat there, just because I like having more power with knockoff plus superpower. And then my defense, I can maybe take a hit from a lot of his physical threats because he doesn't have that many special attackers. He has like Alakazam, Tangrowth, Slowbro, Articuno, but like that's kind of it. The other attackers, like the other 7 or 8, are physical. So I'm more concerned with taking physical hits. Like I might need to take a physical hit from Tangrowth. All the hits I'm taking from Tangrowth really would be physical, except for Giga Drain, which I can still chew. So I'm fine with that. But then the Spadef also allows me to live a Psychic from max special attack Life Orb Alakazam if I'm at full. That's not exactly what I'm invested for. It's invested for the first thing, which is taking a Psychic after Rocks if he's Focus Sash. But I also can live a Life Orb Psychic. It does like a 97 max, so not creeping that, or not EV to live that hit specifically, but I can live that. Just wanted to mention that. So next we got my Crocodile here, Rindo Berry, another berry user here with Earthquake, Knockoff, Stealth Rock, and Thunderfang. So Earthquake and Knockoff is really good dual stat for him, hits almost everything. I love knocking off items versus his team. The Mega Altaria can switch in kind of comfortably, which is scary. But if it is already a Mega, I can Earthquake, or I can maybe Stealth Rock on the switch, or even double on the switch into Altaria. And I do have decent switch-ins to it, so I'm kind of okay with that, but I can pressure the Altaria and at least scout its set a bit from damage. Thunderfang is there for the Gyarados, just because I don't want Gyarados getting a free setup versus me, and I'm more threatened by a Gyarados that has some boosts than Mega Altaria, because Altaria I can check with my Bullet Punch Metagross, which is also Scarf, so if he's adamant I can outspeed that if he's only at +1. And Gyarados, Bullet Punch does almost nothing to, and I am more scared of because I can also just go for Z move and just go past it can just power past my my Lodec there, and I'm just more scared of Gyarados. And even though I don't think I saw it at all in Mox, and I don't think that's a pretty good matchup versus me. He does like bringing it, so it's definitely a viable mon versus me. It's kind of scary though, and I want to bring Thunderfang just in case, and I feel like I just need to prepare for the bigger threat there and just balance what is riskier for me not to carry coverage for. So I think Thunderfang is helpful there. I'm kind of considering carrying Throat Chop over Stealth Rock just to not allow a Mega Altaria that's special to go for Hyper Voice there. That was one thing I considered in Mox, or I consider during team building and during box, or maybe even carrying out over Thunder Fang, but I'm just going to stick with the set I have. Stealth Rock could be helpful, just for weakening down mons. It's not amazing versus this team, but if Weavel's still around, if Altaria has not Mega'd yet, it could be kind of useful, or if Gyarados is there too, Stealth Rock could just be very useful. So next we got my Milotic here. Interesting set here. Toxic Ice Beam, Rest, and Sleep Talk, holding the leftovers there. So the Marvel scale is really great with this set, because if I am sleeping, and I can go for Sleep Talk to allow me to still go for my attacks and still do something. The Marvel skill actually will still enact, and I'll still get the defense boost from that even if I'm asleep, which is like a manual form of status that I put on myself, but it still works, which is really cool. The leftovers is there, just for just leftovers. It's good. Originally I had a Z crystal on this. Not to use, but just like a Fiery MZ, just to allow me to not take as much damage from knockoffs, but. After some consideration in mocks, I think leftovers are more useful overall, and I'm okay with them getting knocked off. I can still rest off the damage and Sleep Talk. I wanted Scald in this to hit like Weavile and Excadrill and other stuff harder, and I still wanted Ice Beam for Tangrowth, but I think Toxic is better, just to allow me to Toxic and Tangrowth there, or maybe even Slowbro if they're not poisoned for anything else, because I do have Toxic Spikes on my Quillfish, but if the T-Spikes are gone, like you could have Defog on Mega Altaria or Spin on Excadrill, then I want to make sure I can have a way of Toxicking them, because if I can Toxic stuff, then my Milotic's just a huge threat, and he could have a lot of trouble breaking this. So I really like Toxic on this, as well as it can allow me to Toxic the Mega Altaria, which could be fat and roost off health and be annoying. Next we got Quillfish here. Oh wait, let me just run past the EVs on Crook, because I forgot to say it. So the speed again is for max speed Jolly Excadrill, then the HP there just allows me to live 2 EQs for max attack Admin Excadrill. That is if he is intimidated, of course. Then the Rendo is also for Alakazam mainly, to take an Energy Ball from that. He could bring Dazzling Gleam, but I think Energy Ball is better coverage, as well as it is more powerful, because it allows him to hit Milotic too. And he could bring Dazzling Gleam, but that's just, just kind of worse overall. It really only hits Crook, or maybe Zygarde. He hits Zygarde with Psychic anyways. And then could bring Focus Blast, but I think Rob, I don't think he likes running super risky moves. Like I've seen him run Flamethrower and not Fire Blast, and I don't think he'll run Focus Blast. He still could, but I think Energy Ball is pretty safe versus me, so that's why I have the Render there to hopefully allow me to take it from Zam, or maybe even from Tangrowth. So next we got my Quillfish there, another Bear user. Shuka Berry here with Toxic Spikes, Aqua Jet, Poison Jab, and Liquidation. So I really like this Quillfish set. Toxic Spikes are just phenomenal versus this team. He has Drill, which can spin, and then Garbodor, which can absorb the Toxic Spikes. But outside of that, his team is just very weak to them. And then Gyarados also is off the ground, and Articuno. So outside of that, though, still like 7 of his mons, and a lot of the main mons I expect to come will get hit by Toxic Spikes. And I love poisoning things like Slowbro or Tangrowth. And I really might need to get up 2 layers though. That could be difficult. Slowbro could be really annoying to deal with, especially if it is Calm Mind and has leftovers. In which case, if it's only normally poisoned, then poison's not really doing too much to it, and it can Calm Mind, it can slack off and be annoying. So I might need to get up 2 layers of Toxic Spikes or none, so I can Toxic it with my Milotic. But Toxic Spikes are still just really good versus a lot of things. Allow me to weaken down stuff, allow me to get some damage on stuff, while Milotic can stall him out and just rest and Sleep Talk and be really annoying. So I like that combination there. The speed's just max speed to speed tie a max speed Timid Articuno, in case if that comes, or I can outspeed a Drill if he's not creeping max speed Quillfish, or outspeed a Gyarados or Mega Altaria. Get off a hit versus them. I can 2KO a max HP Mega Altaria with my Poison Jab after Rocks, or if I get a Poison on the first one, that's what the 12 attack is for. Then the Spit after, so I can live 2 Giga Drains from no special attack Tangrowth. That is just Jameis and Bulk, and allow me to maybe be a decent switch into Tangrowth, because Tangrowth's pretty annoying for my team, and if I can switch it into a Giga Drain, maybe get a Toxic Spike or 2 versus that'd be really nice. So Quillfish is just a nice mon. And I also can live 2 Hyper Voices for max special attack and modest Mega Altaria. That's not what I'm invested for. It does less than 50. It's like maybe like 45 or something. I forget exactly, but I can live 2 Hyper Voices from the Mega Altaria, which is nice too. So the next we got my Mew here, another Berry user. It is my last one. I'm not running a Berry on my Metagross there, but still, 4 Berry users. It is a lot here. So running Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, Vacuum Wave, and Roost with the Colbur Berry there. So the Cold Barrier just because Weavile is a huge threat and I don't want to get Pursuit Trapped, and I can Vacuum Wave versus that. And Vacuum Wave just not OHKO, but I can still Vacuum Wave, take a knockoff, and then he can maybe even Ice Shard the following turn, but I can still Vacuum Wave, knock him out, and I can live those 2 hits. Or maybe if like he's already taking Rocks or like Toxic Spikes, he's poisoned, a Vacuum Wave plus Poison plus maybe a Life Orb hit will knock him out. So I might not need that second back wave there. And Roost just nice to heal versus his team. And Thunderbolt Ice Beam just great coverage for his team. Originally, I had Earth Power to allow me to hit Excadrill. So I think with Earth Power, Ice Beam, and Thunderbolt, I hit everything super effectively, except for Alakazam and Weavile. But Back Wave is better as it just allows me to Weavile, which is a huge threat. And then also does some damage to Excadrill, not as much as Earth Power. And also Vacuum Wave still hits Lycanroc anyway, so I'm okay with that. And Earth Power did hit Garbodor super effectively, and I don't have anything to hit that super effectively now, but it's not super likely to come. I think it does have some value, and Spikes and Toxic Spikes could be annoying for my team, so it definitely could come. But I don't think I need to prioritize hitting it too hard with my Mew, and I think I have other ways of hitting it, like my Crocodile, and Thundurus can pressure it a lot, and still, I don't think I need to carry a Psychic Stab or even Earth Power on Mew to deal with that. The speed is, again, for Drill. And then the bulk, I can 2KO max HP defensive Slowbro if he is poisoned, and if he's leftovers. So I'll do like 44, or no, like 40, like 47, I think, because the poison will lower his health by 12, but then he'll get 6% from lefties. So overall net of -6. So then I need to do 94% with my 2 attacks. So Thunderbolt does minimum 47 if he has no Speed F, but it's max HP. So that is what that special attack is for, than the rest in HP, just to give me some bulk, and that's pretty nice, just to take hits and be kind of bulky there. So it's pretty nice Mew. It's a decent check and decent lore for the Weavile there, as well as Colbert could be useful for like any other knockoffs, like Tangrowth. I'll take like nothing from it, and it won't be useful for much else, but it's still just nice for the Weavile there. It can be a decent check to Tangrowth. If he's AV, that's kind of annoying, but I can hopefully Toxic out with my Lotic there, poison it with Toxic Spike. So that's the idea there. So lastly, we have my Wind Conditioner, my Scarf, Metagross here. So Bullet Punch, Iron Head, Thunder Punch, and Trick. I'm just running max speed Jolly because because I can outspeed a max speed Adamant Gyarados with this. So if he wants to be a little bit cheeky and run Adamant Gyarados, I can outspeed that actually. So if he gets a +1, I can come in and outspeed it and bop it with a Thunder Punch. So that's really nice. And I also outspeed Weavile and everything else. I'm not creeping those, but I can outspeed everything. Everything that's not Scarf from this team. So that's really nice. Iron Head's a move I'm going to be spamming late game, and what I want to be winning with. I want to just click Iron Head, and if Gyarados, Slowbro, and Excadrill are low enough / gone, then I can just Iron Head and spam. I could have ran Meteor Mash, but if I'm spamming it, I don't want to miss. And I just want to carry Iron Head just to be safer. So I'm not trying to miss my Meteor Mashes when I need to hit them late game. Bullet Punch is there for Mega Altaria if he has at least 1 speed boost, and I know he's Jolly, or if he's multiple speed boosts from either Agility or Dragon Dance. The Bullet Punch is just pretty nice. It does like 40 to 50% if he's not too bulky. Thunder Punch is for Gyarados, and last night I have Trick to allow me to trick Slowbro or Tangrowth if one of them gets out of hand and I need to get rid of its item. Trick could be really helpful, so that's really nice. And still, depending on the scenario, Bullet Punch might actually just be fine to clean late game because I can still take hits from I can still take the priority hit from Weavile or the priority hit from Lycanroc and still Bullet Punch and do a lot to them, or even Alakazam, I can just Bullet Punch and that does a lot. So I might just be fine to clean with Bullet Punch late game too. So I'm kind of okay with tricking away my Scarf. I don't really have any coverage for Excadrill, I know that, and that's because I don't really want to be spamming anything that it would have to click for Excadrill. It's like Earthquake, Hammer Arm, or Brick Break, or anything else that would run as coverage to hit Drill. It isn't that good versus anything else on his team. EQ is okay if he has the right mons left. Like, EQ is viable, but I like the 4 moves I have now. I think Trick could be more valuable and prevent me from getting swept by like a Calm Mind Slowbro or something. And I think Metagross is more valuable with Trick there and just can help my team and be good support, as well as just a potential win con with the set. So I really like this Metagross. It's a nice win condition. I don't think you really expect Scarf Metagross. It's nice to allow me to check Weavile and check Lycanroc, and I can chew their priority moves, so even though I outspeed them, it's fine. I can take their Ice Shards and Cell Rocks easily. So that is a pretty nice Metagross there. I really like the team. I have 4 Resist Berries, so that is a strat I'm rocking. So again, I really like this team. I think this team can work. I just need to execute my plan effectively, and I just need to make sure I have the right mons around for his mons. This is very bulky offense. A lot of berries. This is kind of sort of similar to my team versus Riz. I ran 2 Assault Vests on that team. I don't have any berries around on that, not as many as this team, but still, I just need to make sure I have the right mons around and then clean it with my Scarf Metagross, basically. Or maybe even my Lotic might just be able to rest and stall his team out if he doesn't have the proper ways of breaking me. So that's my team there. I'm about to do the battle. I will do a post-comp, so it should be in the same video as this video. I'll just go right after. So hopefully you guys are excited for the battle, and we'll get into it in just a second. Hey guys, so I'm back with the battle, as you can see here. So, I'm bringing these 6 that I just went over. My Thunder's T, Crocodile, my Milotic, Goldfish, Mew, which is kind of hiding right here, and my Metagross, while Rob brings somewhat what I expect, but not completely. He does bring Mega Altaria, Weavile, Slowbro, Articuno, Excadrill, and Golurks. So, no Gyarados, which was kind of scary. I'm glad he didn't bring it just because that thing is such a threat to my team and just pressures my team a lot, and I really need to play around it to make sure that it doesn't set up and sweep me. So in that regard, I'm glad to not see Gyarados. He does bring the Articuno, which is interesting. I was kind of hoping it wouldn't come. In the back of my head, I kind of expected it. Like, I thought it definitely has some value in this game. Pretty good Milotic check, and he does have limited ways of dealing with Milotic. Kind of shocked not to see Tangrowth, but he does bring Slowbro, so I thought he'd bring at least one of them, if not both. So he does bring both of them. No Alakazam, no Lycanroc, which is interesting. I kind of expected Lycanroc, but it didn't have the best matchup. Alakazam I thought he'd bring, especially because he did pick it up last week. So this is the first week he could have brought it, so I kind of thought he picked it up partially for this game, and I feel like having Alakazam instead of Mienshao, which he previously had, was a pretty nice addition to his team. So I thought he'd bring Zam, but no Zam. So interesting team on his end, but we'll have to get into it. So I'm just going to lead to my Milotic, as it doesn't seem like he's the best ways of beating it, or at least immediately pressuring it. He does lead Altaria, I lead Milotic, so Hyper Voice does a lot. I click Toxic and I miss, so not the best turn one. Kind of unfortunate there. But I just got to keep playing. I can't really, I can't be upset about that. I have to just move on and try to move on and really change how I play. Or at least just not get stuck up on that, and really need to try to not let that be too impactful, basically. So the Hyper Voice damage shows that he is max special attack and modest, so kind of scary. I'm just gonna write my Qwilfish here, as he makes a pretty nice play, probably predicting that. So Qwilfish could have lived 2 hypers, but he makes a good play and going to Bro. So I collect Toxic Spikes, and I don't really agree with this play in hindsight. I don't think this was a great play, because I didn't quite know the Slowbro set, and I wanted to maybe try to get up 2 Toxic Spikes, and he could have had Psychic, in which case he would have, I think it was a roll to Oka me, but I think in his favor. If he had Side Shock, I would have definitely lived it, but I did not know his set, and I didn't want to get the 1 layer of Toxic Spikes and then have this thing get poisoned from that. So what I could have done here is set up my 2nd layer, and in hindsight maybe I should have, but he could have spun with Drill or even Defog on Kuno or something, so, or maybe Defog on Articuno or on Altaria before Slowbro gets poisoned. So I don't necessarily think that was a bad play to not set up my 2nd layer, but I think I shouldn't have set up the 1st layer in the first place. I think I should have just gone hard Milotic and tried to Toxic this thing, as I can just get it for free Toxic or something in that scenario. So I'm just going to Toxic here. Just try to get off the Toxic versus Slowbro in case he lets me. I doubt he will. He goes hard into Articuno. I knew he could have gone into something that would have got poisoned from the T-Spike, but I thought he might go into this. So glad I got the Toxic off on that, as he does show the Freeze Drive. And this shows he is not offensive at all. Looks like no special attack. So that is interesting. I'm going to go for Ice Beam. I thought he might have scouted for a Rock move or Electric move and try to go into like Excadrill or Golurks. I just wanted to go for that, but it was still a pretty safe play. Like T-Bolt didn't do too much more. As he goes for Toxic, which is pretty annoying. So I'm kind of thinking maybe he has Heal Bell here too, which would make this pretty annoying. So there's really not much I can do right now. So I'm just going to T-Bolt and hope he doesn't have Heal Bell, as he actually does have Heal Bell, which makes this really annoying, as this thing can Toxic my team and Heal Bell me and be a big threat. So it's kind of lagging a bit, and I'm not loving it, but hopefully it's still reasonable. So I'm just gonna go hard in my Metagross here, as I know this thing cannot hit me. I've seen 3 I've seen 3 of its moves being Heal Bell, Freeze Dry, and Toxic. And the last move I'm almost certain is Roost. So I can just go to Metagross here pretty safely, as did not mean to do that. As I'm just gonna go right for the Thunder Punch. What do I do? No, do I double? I double into Thundy, making actually a pretty nice play, I think, as in comes Drill. So this is okay with me. So I will, if he's not Scarf, I will outspeed him. If he is, I can still take any 1 hit. I am Charty Berry on this, and then I can just go for knockoff, get rid of the Scarf. He does go ahead and Golurk on my knockoff, so that's kind of okay with me, as it shows that he was Colbur, so pretty bulky Golurk. Even after the poison, not me able to knock this thing out with a knockoff, so the Colbur comes in really clutches, not me able to KO him as he gets up his rocks for free. I could have potentially stayed in with my Thundurus in hindsight and just knocked off again. My spit's flying everywhere, I apologize. I could have potentially just gone for that, but I did not want to take Stone Edge. I might have been able to, well, I could have lived his Stone Edge because I have my Charity Berry, and he wasn't Banded or Life Orb, we know, because Colbur. So I could have potentially, I could have, I think, probably lived an Ice Punch, but I didn't want my Thunderous being that low. I wanted to keep it kind of healthy for Excadrill, and still to pressure the Slowbro and pressure the Articuno. So, in comes, I bring in my Lodic on his rocks, and then in comes his Slowbro immediately as I just rest to get to full, and then now I was already burned, so yes, Marble Skull is already popped, but still, Marble Skull is still popped there. So he goes for Scald, interesting play. I thought he just want to Calm Mind immediately, but yeah, it is what it is. I'm just going to Trick and give him my Scarf as I take a Colbur, so another Colbur user, interesting. Guess he's just really afraid of Crook and my other knockoff users there, so he goes for another Scald, does not get the burn thankfully, which is really good. As I do Trick on my Scarf, which is great, because that Calm Mind Slowbro could have been a huge threat, and now that it is a Scarf Slowbro and still outspeeds nothing on my team, it is really not as big of a threat. It's still bulky, can still hit kind of hard and pivot, and, you know, it's not totally an unmon, it's still there and still annoying. So I'm going to have to still play around it, but I don't have to worry about a Calm Mind Slowbro, at least, unless if I make a very kind of blind play and just a not smart play, and click Knockoff at some point on it, or click Knockoff on a citation where he can switch in, and I cannot knock him out the following turn, then, you know, he could not have a Scarf and then be a Calm Mind threat again. But as long as I play carefully enough around this and don't accidentally knock off the item, I should be fine. So I'm just going to go wait for the Sleep Talk there. No, that was on my switch. No, because I went into my Lodic as he went into Drill because, yeah, I wanted to switch. So he goes right for Spin, which is understandable. Gets rid of the T-Spike. Glad I know he has Spin now. I go for Sleep Talk, and of course I get a Rest first turn. Thanks, my Lodic. So this thing is Toxic and Heal Bell, but the good news is Heal Bell does only have 8 PP. I got another Rest. Thanks. And he's already used 1. Don't mean to scroll down, damn it. And he's already used 1. So that's pretty good. As if I can Sleep Talk enough Toxics, I can stall him out of Heal Bells, and then at that point, if I get another Toxic, then I can beat that Articuno there. So, this, my Lodic, I can take 3 Freeze Dries, so I can rest here. Does it think I rest now? Because he could have Freeze Dried there, so I rest now. So I can live a Freeze Dry, go for Sleep Talk, live a Freeze Dry, go for Sleep Talk, hopefully get a Toxic on one of those 2 turns, and then following turn live the 3rd Freeze Dry, and then rest it off, hoping I get a Toxic there. So if I get that sequence happen 8 times, then I can beat this Articuno. Well, 8 more times after we saw the Heal Bell. I just went for that against Mew. So, not the most reliable strategy, but definitely possible. Toxic I have a 2/3 chance of getting Toxic every round I'm poisoned, or every round I'm sleeping, I guess. So, we play this game for a bit here. Eventually, we switch it up. Something happens. It's not just me stalling him out at PP right here. Something happens. I forget. He goes in Weavile at some point, I think. So, Freeze Dry. We're just gonna keep seeing this back and forth. I'm just gonna kind of skip through a little bit. I get some Toxics at some points. Or no, here we go. I get some Toxics at some points. I get some Rests and whatever. So I go through Resters. In comes Weavile. So here, this thing can knock off my item, which is scary, but I can't really do much about it. I don't really have another switch in. This is my switch into Weavile, and I have to let it knock off my lefties if it wants to. It's actually just Pursuits, predicting me to switch. Interesting play on his end, as he still's not doing too much to me, even if I do switch. And so I don't really get that play. I guess he just wanted to pressure my Lodic and not let it be full. But even then, after Rocks, I guess he just need a little more damage, maybe 2 KO with Articuno from that point after I take a Pursuit, and then later take Rocks. But I don't know. I don't think it was his best play. I think he could just really knock it off there. But whatever, I'll take it. So I just went for Sleep Talk there, got a Toxic and Weavile, which is great. So then in comes the Drill, as I think I predicted that. Or yeah, no, I knew he was going to have to switch out from Weavile there. Probably going to Articuno. So I went to the Thunders, predicting Articuno. As well, in came the, but no. In did come the Articuno versus my Lodic, as I did make that switch that same turn into Thundy, as he switches into Drill immediately. So I just click Knockoff on the switch. Here to get rid of his Scarf, which is really, really nice. So here, I make a play that I don't like, and it's bad. So I was thinking, okay, I could Superpower and knock out the Drill. He could Scalp it, go into... really his only safe play is Altaria. Maybe sack off Golurk, that wouldn't be a bad play either. I thought, he could just stay in with Drill, or maybe go into Golurk. And I'm just going to go right at my Crook, use that as a chance to get my Rocks. So if I can get get my rocks, then that'll be 50% on Articuno, 25% on Weavile, and just other good chip versus the rest of his team. So I really want to get my rocks if I can find the chance. So even though my Thundurus could have potentially knocked out the Excadrill, I wanted to switch in my Crook to use this as a chance to get my rocks. Now, as I was considering making that play, I acknowledged that he could have gone into Altaria, which is a pretty reasonable play, as he can take a fighting move that would have killed Drill. He can scout for that, and then I guess this depends on his bulk and my investment and how mixed offensively I am. But he can probably live with Sludge Bomb the following turn, depending on what move I'm going for the previous turn. So this was a pretty safe play. So I could have made a really aggressive play to click Sludge Bomb there. I mean, it wouldn't have been the worst play ever because, I mean, even if Drill stayed in and clicked Rock Slide, then my Thundy could have took that because of Charty, and it would have only done like 35%-ish. So I could have just gone right for the Sludge Bomb, and even if he stayed in, it wouldn't have been the worst thing ever. But if he did stay in and let me kill that Drill, then Superpower, then that would have been really nice, as that thing cannot spin anymore, and I can maybe set up T-Spikes later. So I don't know. In hindsight, I kind of wish I mean, I don't even think Quillfish was the right play. Cause like maybe go into Quillfish predicting Altaria, but I don't want Quillfish being inverse Drill. I think in hindsight, really the best play was just staying in and clicking Sludge Bomb, especially considering the risk of what I think he would do, because I don't think he wants to sack off his Drill just yet. It still has some value. I think he'd go hard into Altaria. Now, my Sludge Bomb would not have OHKO'd him. If I got a Poison, I don't know if that would have killed. I don't think so. Maybe if I got a high enough roll, but I don't think so. But it'd be a very low Altaria here, so that'd be good. So I can just go for, I think T-Bolt will knock him out the following turn, but I'm not certain that. If not, I might just go for another Sludge Bomb. But I did not do that, so hindsight, I wish I did. I mean, especially I'm saying that because he went into Altaria, so, you know, then definitely Sludge Bomb would have worked out. But I understand why I didn't, just being hesitant with the Drill there and trying to use this as a chance to get at my rocks. So, it was reasonable, but didn't quite work out there. But I was just really kind of frustrated with myself after the play, because I kind of knew and realized he could have gone into Altaria pretty risk-free. Not risk-free, but it was probably his safest and probably his best play. But I was like, I don't think he will. I'm just going to go into Crook, and that was a bad play. So I'm just going to bring Quillfish here, as he's just going to freely click Hyper. There's no reason not to here. He does a lot. But I should be able to take another depending on rolls. Well, if he gets the same roll, I can live another. If he gets like a middle roll, I cannot. I think if we got 2 mid rolls, he was going to knock me out, though, so I can't really complain there. But I actually did get that. Whoops, did not mean to show that. But I did get that crit Poison, which actually really sucks for him. So that thing now dies to Rocks if I get that up. If it maybe tries to switch in and I don't go for an attack that turn, something like a switch or go for Rocks or something on the switch, then he dies to Poison. So that crit Poison really sucks for him, but he can still play around it, especially if he can heal well, then the Poison will go away. And he can still get off a Roost versus my Melodic there. And especially he can even switch him. He can switch in on my Melodic if I'm asleep, and then if I get a Toxic or a Rest, then he can outspeed me and just Roost. But if I get Ice Beam on the Sleep Talk, then he dies and switch. But still, I can still, I mean, like, the Toxic Poison sucked, but he still had some value with Altaria there, more than I kind of initially thought of there. And also, just want to go back to the first turn Toxic miss. A little bit unfortunate. I mean, Altaria would have been a little bit lower, and then it possibly, actually, it would have been in range of Sludge Bomb, which maybe would have increased my chance of clicking Sludge Bomb on the switch. But he did a Field Bell, so at least it wouldn't have been Poison anymore, but it still would have been a little bit lower, which would have been helpful there. So, in comes Mew after the Altaria went down. After the Quillfish went down. I just clicked Ice Beam there. I could have just clicked Thunderbolt. It would have knocked out Altaria anyways. I kind of wish I did in hindsight, just because if it went to Altaria, it went to Articuno, it would have helped me. But I wouldn't have 2KO'd Articuno either way, so it wasn't like a huge deal, but I still would have liked to pressure this a little bit more. So I clicked T-Bolt, and then he was able to chew that, and then Heal Bell and Roost. So we're back into the same thing as before with my Melodic versus Articuno. He does eventually get a crit. That's something that was going to happen eventually, so I can't really be too upset. Do still have my lefty, so I can live another Freeze Dry, so he's going to go for another one. And then I can rest up here, and we're back to the same scenario. Hopefully I can get my Toxics off. So this is, you know, kind of stally, kind of long game there. Freeze Dry does have 32 PP from the start, so a lot of PP. Maybe I can stall it out with Rest here and Roost on Mew, but that'll take a lot. Anyways, so he Brings in Weavile. It's actually do get Toxic, which is really nice. So I actually intentionally did not Sleep Talk there just because I was running out of PP and I didn't wanna waste Sleep Talk PP versus something I didn't really need the Sleep Talk on. I mean, Ice Beam could have done a little more if I got Ice Beam, but I had a 2/3 chance of getting Toxic or Rest, both of which were useless there. So I didn't want to waste any PP there on Sleep Talk when I didn't need to. And I start to preserve my Sleep Talk when I don't really need them here. So, by the way, earlier from that Pursuit damage from Weavile, even though it did so little, only did like 14%, we actually saw that it was banded because me staying in and being asleep and still taking that much from Pursuit means he was actually banded. So I took kind of a lot from knockoff from Weavile there, at least considering I was sleeping, so I had the Marvel Scale boost. So, I mean, I don't have my lefties anymore, which is really bad, as Articuno is a lot more likely to 3KO me now, which makes this stalling game and scenario significantly more difficult. So, one thing that could come into play here is my Crocodile. So my Crocodile does not have Stone Edge, but I can bluff what it does, and I would have maybe been more aggressive to bring in Croc earlier to try to get off a Stone Edge versus Articuno, as I saw my Milotic could maybe stall out and beat it eventually, but not quickly at all. My other ways of beating it, like Metagross and Thundurus, were pressured and he can just switch out on. So I could have tried to bluff the Stones with Crook earlier, but I didn't really have a chance to bring in Crook versus Articuno, or like, I mean, maybe I could bring it in versus a predicted Heal Bell or a Roost, but he doesn't have to Heal Bell like immediately, and predicting that Heal Bell could be a little bit difficult. I do live 1 Freeze Dry, so I could have brought in Crook on that, but I wanted to keep Crook as healthy as I could have for the Excadrill and didn't want to make it take Freeze Dry if it didn't have to. So I was being kind of cautious going into my Crook there. Maybe I should have gone into it a little bit sooner, just to try to really plant in his mind that he do have Stone Edge, which I could have very viably brought. I did not have Stone Edge. I had EQ, Knock, Rocks, and Thunder Fang for Gyarados, but his Stone Edge still was very viable, and not much would have been different with how I played or even really prepped, so Stone Edge was definitely not out of the question. So, on that turn there, I realized my Milotic is less likely to be able to stall at the Articuno, so I go into Mew, as I know he's going to just click Heal Bell, get rid of that poison that I just placed on him. So my plan right here is I'm just going to, so I have Mew in. I thought he might Freeze Dry that turn, but he didn't have to, but in case he did, you know. He's going to click Freeze Dry now, and my plan, I'm just going to Roost as much as I can and make him use as many Freeze Dries as possible, as I might be able to rest off a lot later, make him waste a lot of Freeze Dries. And if I can do that, if he can actually run out of Freeze Dries, then my Milotic can definitely beat him. So he really has no way to pressure me. So if I can just stall him out of Freeze Dries, and I mean, Mew's not going to stall him out. I'm just going to roost as much as I can, and just keep roosting till I can't roost anymore, or till Poison does over half, till Poison would kill me. So I'm just going to keep doing this to get another turn or two here. I'm just going to skip right now. So yeah, I see this, just another one, another Freeze Dry, which does not much, and Poison, oof. So I just go for last ditch T-Bolt here to get some more damage, as he's actually, he could have roosted there, but I didn't really expect it. But in the off chance I got the 10% parry there, I could have made him use another Heal Bell there. So immediately I bring in my Crook. Like, I did not waste any time. As soon as me went down, I brought a Crook immediately, knowing I have to try to bluff this Stone Edge right here. So I don't have Stone Edge. I know that. He does not know that. He may have suspicions that I don't, but really not much would have changed how I play. Like, maybe I could have aggressively brought in Crook more. I could have brought in Crook earlier, but I still wanted to keep it healthy for Excadrill. So I thought he was going to try to scout for the Stone Edge right here. So I mean, either way, I don't have Stone Edge. So my play right here is pretty definitive, or pretty clear. I could maybe click Rocks here, but he's already in with Articuno, so I'm just going to click Knockoff, get rid of this thing's item, something's item. Probably Drill, which already has the item gone, or P. I think his best play is just probably sack off Golurks, scout for Stone Edge. Maybe Bro, and just pivot off of that, because he does have regen. But I mean, he doesn't take a knockoff if he doesn't have to. I mean, either Drill or Golurks probably his best play. So I'm just going to click Knock, expecting him to switch because Stone Edge could knock this thing out, and then his ways of beating Milotic are limited. He does still have Altaria, which does a lot, but that thing is low. It's not poison anymore because of Heal Bells, but still it is low. And Drill doesn't beat Milotic, Golurk doesn't, Weavile doesn't, Slowbro is Scarf, so it doesn't. So he has an Altaria which kind of can beat it. It can Roost, but it needs to be able to. I mean, it can come in versus Milotic, but he needs to bring it in on a switch, probably. Maybe he can sack off a Mon later, but and then bring in Altaria for free, and it does do a lot to my Milotic there. So the Altaria kind of can beat Milotic, but not easily and not reliably. So I thought he needs Articuno around. I mean, what I thought he would do here doesn't impact my play, it just impact how I perceived his play here and how I really just expected from him. I mean, either way, I'm clicking knock off. So I click knock. Intimidate. Okay, I click knock. Or no, I click rocks here. Sorry, I guess I kind of lied to you guys. I click rocks. I'm expecting to switch because I mean, yeah. Either way, if I get the rocks, then Articuno is weakened when it comes back in, as he stays in and clicks freeze dry, which baffled me. And I talked to him a bit after the game, and I understood a little more. He was ambiguous with how he was talking. Wasn't too definitive in his ways of being Milotic after this. So, and he had a hunch I didn't have Stone Edge, and I guess it worked out. I'm just gonna go for knockoff here as I talk a little more. So I knock off, get rid of his lefties as he just reset off. So, I mean, I guess it worked out because I didn't have Stone Edge, but I could have easily just slapped on Stone Edge instead of Thunder Fang that last slot. I just want to, I'm just going for Thunder Fang here, just maybe get a pair, maybe force another Heal Bell. Don't get it. I actually miss out Thunder Fang, which doesn't matter too much, but it's kind of salt in the wound there. So, I'm just going to pause the game because I want to talk more. So that play, I mean, like, it worked out, so in that regard, I guess I can't question him, but I'm going to. I don't think that was his best play, because he kind of needed Articuno to win. Altaria kind of could beat Milotic, but outside of that, his other four just lose to Milotic, like Weavile, Excadrill, Golurk. They don't break it. Slowbro's locked into what it's going for because it's Scarf, so Milotic can just Toxic and Ice Beam rest and stall them out. So Altaria is his only way of beating that, which he can keep healthy, and like, I mean, I can pressure it and bring in Thundurus and Metagross to pressure it, but Altaria still needs to try to roost and has limited opportunities to be in a situation to beat Milotic, which is why I thought he needs Articuno around. So that play just frustrated me, and I mean, didn't affect how I played at that point because I didn't have Stone Edge, but I just find it very reasonable and very plausible that I have Stone Edge, and it's this really the same exact hook set that I would have, just Stone Edge over Thunder Fang. Easy substitution. And maybe, I'm not even definitively saying I should have brought Stone Edge, because Thunder Fang, I saw a lot of value in that and why I brought it. Like, I don't 100% regret bringing Thunder Fang over Stone Edge. Like, just considering how big of a threat Gyarados was, and I think Gyarados was a more likely and more obvious threat, and it was a more immediate threat if you were to bring it than Articuno was. And I mean, Stone Edge still does hit Gyarados for some damage, not as much as Thunder Fang does. And considering, I mean, Thunder Fang's base 65 and then Cloud Super Effective, so 260, and Stone Edge is 100, Super Effective 200, also has a higher chance to miss. So I mean, it does almost as much as Thunder Fang, emphasis on almost. So in that regard, I kind of wish I brought Stone Edge, but like, I had good reasoning for bringing Thunder Fang, and I don't regret that reasoning. So I just bring in my Milotic. I'm going to try to rest. Well, I do rest. As his free starts are doing around 35-ish now, which, I mean, they were doing that before, but I don't have lefties there to give me that little bit of health to allow me to take threes. I'm going to go down to 3 free strats right here, which really blows. I got 2 Ice Beams in a row, so that's what happened. Didn't really mean much, as he creates the last free strat. It doesn't matter, but no, then. So I bring in Metagross here as I click Thunder Punch. What do we do? No, I click Iron Head. I am not Scarf anymore, so that doesn't really matter. So here, kind of regret that play, because what I could have done is, probably should have done, was just Thunder Punch and then sack off Metagross, bring in Thundurus, and pick up at least 1 kill on something and avoid the 6-0. So I could have done that, but I thought there's still kind of a very small chance I can actually come back and win this game, but still a chance. So if I go hard into Thundurus as he scalds, I need him to not burn me. If I can keep Metagross around to Bullet Punch Weavile, if he either doesn't have Ice Shard or misclicks or he doesn't go for it or whatever, then I can knock out Weavile with Bullet Punch. Thundurus outspeeds and can knock out Drill, Golurk, Slowbro, and Altaria, and Articuno. So if I can Bullet Punch away that Weavile, then, you know, I could actually bring this back and potentially win. That was my thought process there. So I still wanted to have Metagross around. And I mean, like, he probably had Ice Shard. I actually didn't. I don't think we did not actually exchange teams. So I'm not certain if he had Ice Shard. It didn't come into play with. He didn't use it. He didn't need to use it here. as he goes for Scald and gets the burn. Thanks. So 30% chance. I mean, like, I can't be too salty about Scald. It's Scald. As I'm going to go for T-Bolt there. I kind of thought he'd pivot around and just try to stall me out to burn. But I didn't want to overprotect him, so one of the tackles in front of me. And 50-50s that were frustrating. So I click Superpowers, in comes Golurk, of course. And then I bring in this. In comes Bro, and he's just, yeah, beats me there. As I Thunder Punch, and he lives in Scald. So that's really frustrating. That counts as a 6-0. And it just, this is frustrating. That's just the best word to use here. I mean, like, I could have just sacked off Metagross and then just brought in Thundurus, and he probably could have switched out with Bro, gone to Drill, but I wouldn't have had the burn on me to get Slow Chip if I just sacked off Gross and then brought in Thunder for free. And then, like, I could have gone for, so go for T-Bolt maybe as he goes in Drill, Superpowers as he goes into Golurk, and then if he really wanted to, he could have gone into Weavile on my knockoff, and then he still could have outsped and knocked me out. But if I make a prediction there, click, I think Thunderbolt even knocks out Weavile or Superpower on Weavile as he switches in, then Thunder's outspeeds and kills the rest of his team. So I don't think that'd be a play he wouldn't do that following turn, because he either wins 6-0 or loses 1-0. He could have potentially have an out if, like, if I have to, it's kind of 50-50 with Superpower versus Drill, so I need to Superpower versus a Drill, but if he correctly scouts versus that, brings in Slowbro or something to take that, then I'm at -1 and can't kill it. So then, in that regard, he might have a way around that, but even at -1 defense, actually, I think even with my target would die to Rock Slide after the rocks, so he maybe had a way around that, not necessarily just losing to Thundy, if he were to go, if Weavile were to die on the switch there. So he could have potentially still made that play kind of safely and won 6-0, but I don't think he would have if I wasn't burned. So, you know, that's just how that went. I mean, like, if he didn't have Ice Shard, like, if I was able to, if my, I mean, I don't know, in hindsight, I mean, like, if Metagross is in versus Weavile, as he clicks Ice Shard, knocks me out, or he doesn't have it, he just switches out, goes in a Burrow, and he would be wise and scout for it and pivot around that to where he wouldn't allow my Metagross to knock out Weavile. So in that regard, I kind of wish that I just got my differential point there and sacked off Metagross and then brought in Thundy and got a kill or something. So I kind of wish I did that at least to make it a little closer. Not a 6-0, because a 6-0 is just embarrassing. And I think it's, this word's going to make me sound kind of ignorant, but I think it's just kind of stupid that's a 6-0 because of how hard I prep. It makes me sound like I'm just kind of ignorant of my flaws and how this game went. But, like, I prepped very hard, and I did a lot of good things. And, well, also, this game, it doesn't seem like a 6-0. Like, I don't think he was in control the entire time. I mean, the Articuno caught me a little off guard. Wasn't exactly what I expected, but I was still able... I played around it somewhat and had some things for it. And, you know, the Stone Edge Bluff was, I think, what I needed to do at the end, and just didn't catch him. So I was in the game, I think. Like, a 6-0 just seems like it's so dominant and, like, he was in control the entire time, which he was not. Like, really, I feel like I had big turns, like, on a big double into Thundy early in the game. Like, I was in a power position potentially when I had Thundy versus that Drill. If I click Sludge Bomb, I'm in a great scenario there, as Thundy's really pressuring his team. That Altaria is gone. If I can get rid of that Articuno, then my Milotic kind of just wins. So, you know, I put myself into some pretty good positions this game, but the Articuno made things kind of tough, and him not following for my bluff there made things difficult towards the end. I mean, like, I sort of had difficulty beating him. That's not really what I was trying to argue there about that whole spiel. I still probably will lose, but Articuno would be weakened. I mean, at that point, at that point I still had my Milotic around, so I could have, if Articuno goes down, yeah, my Milotic, or Milotic. I don't know. I always kind of want to say my and then Milotic, but I usually just Milotic makes sense. Whatever. So I could have potentially not needed to. I don't even know where I'm going. Sorry. I'm just talking around. This is fucking 30 minutes for this battle. This is just me rambling and kind of being salty. So Rob played pretty well. I still don't agree with that play with Articuno. Maybe he had more than I thought for dealing with my Milotic, but really, like, these four, I don't think really have any way of beating it. I mean, Bro was locked. Bro was Scarf, so Bro didn't have a way to beat it. Unless if he had Toxic, which was Well, no, even then I'm wrestling. I don't really agree with that play. I mean, like, it worked out, so in that regard, I can't question him for that, but I still just question the risk versus reward and how he assessed that. Rob still prepped well, though. Articuno was a nice bring, caught me a little bit off guard. I feel like I still had some things for it and still had some ways around it. I just couldn't quite get myself in that position to do so. And I feel like this team I built was still very solid. Like, I really like the team. I think it works very well versus almost every single combination he could bring. It's just this specific combination, how he played, is just able to win and able to not squeeze it out because it wasn't that close, but still, this game, it's not as like separated, not as dominant, and not as one-sided as a 6-0 normally seems. Like, it's not as definitive of a win for him as this differential makes it seem. And this loss really, it kind of disgusts me that it goes in. Well, not like I'm blaming anyone that, like, this shouldn't count as a 6-0. He has 6 moms around. That's how that works. But it just kind of is, like, disgusting that this good of prep. That makes it sound cocky. That my prep, which I think was good, not perfect, not amazing, good, and I feel like I played pretty well and had a fairly close game, so goes in as the worst possible result. That's just kind of annoying because, like, if I just got swept in like 10 turns, and that's still the same result as what happened here with a very hard-built team and hard-fought battle. So it's just annoying. I apologize for rambling on this much with the team builder. This video is going to be almost an hour. I'm sorry. If any of you made it around this long through me being pretty bitter, then thanks. But next week we do play Chris. So 2-4. If we can bring it back next week versus Chris, we'll have a chance at doing some things and maybe having a chance this season. But big game versus Chris next week. Hopefully we can bounce back. So I'll see you guys next week with the battle versus Chris. Peace out.